Welcome to part 1 of the Affliction Warlock tutorial. We'll talk about gearing your Warlock in this tutorial. We'll start with your stats, move on to reforging, and then talk about your talents. When we speak about your stats, there's a certain order that you should go in, a priority for the stats on your gear. The first stat you're going to pay the most attention to is your intellect. And what that does is it increases your spell damage and provides mild amount of crits. It's the most effective DPS stat for Warlocks. After your int, you're going to concentrate on your hit rating, and you're going to try to get to the hit cap. The spell hit cap eliminates your chance for spells to miss, and it's a huge DPS loss if you're not capped. On screen now, you'll see a brief explanation of the hit rating. For heroic dungeons, you're going to want to get to 6%. And for raids, you're going to want to get to 17%. After your hit cap, you'll work on your haste, which reduces your cast time. It also lowers your global cooldowns and can give extra ticks on your dots. After haste, you'll look at your crit, which increases your critical strike chance of your spells and dots. Now that you know a little bit more about the stats you should concentrate on as an Affliction Warlock, let's talk about reforging. Reforging lets you turn a portion of one of your item's stats into another more useful stat. On screen now you'll see some rules for reforging. Basically, the biggest thing you want to do is you want to get hit capped. So if you're not at your 17%, then you're going to reforge for the hit cap to avoid losing your DPS. Looking at your spell priority list, you'll want to go with your lowest priority stat and reforge that into your hit rating. If you are hit capped, then you'll want to work on increasing your haste and so on. Along with your stats and reforging, there are a couple of other things you can do to increase your effectiveness as an Affliction Warlock. You can use gems on gear with sockets. On screen now you'll see 4 gems that are the ones that are suggested that you try to get and use. Along with gems, another thing you can do to help increase your effectiveness is use glyphs. Glyphs are divided into prime, major, and minor. On screen now, you should see the prime glyphs that are recommended for an Affliction Warlock to use. And then I'll also show you some of the major glyphs that are recommended. Okay, now that you know more about your stats, reforging, and then your gems and your glyphs, let's talk about your talents. As a level 85 Warlock, you'll need to spend 31 talent points in your main tree before you can open up the other 2. You get 41 points total to spend. Some of the more interesting talents in the Affliction tree: Doom and Gloom increases the critical strike chance of your Bane of Agony and Bane of Doom spells. Jinx uses your Curse of Elements and passes that on to 15 nearby enemies. Eradication is nice. Basically what that does is your Corruption spell gives you a chance to increase your spellcasting speed. Soul Swap causes damage, but then lets you switch the dots from one target to another. Your Death's Embrace talent, this one allows you to use your Drain Life when your target is at or below 25% to heal you. It also increases your Shadow spell damage when your target's below 25%. Nightfall causes your Corruption and Drain Life spells to give you a chance for an instant Shadow Bolt. The Soulburn Seed of Corruption is really nice in an AoE situation. Basically, by triggering your Soulburn and then using Seed of Corruption, your Seed of Corruption will afflict all nearby enemy targets with Corruption. Plus, you'll get your Soul Shard back. The final talent in the Affliction talent tree is Haunt. This one causes shadow damage and increases the amount of damage done by your shadow dots. However, when Haunt ends or is dispelled, it heals you for 100% of the damage that you did to the target. That's the end of part 1 for Affliction Warlocks. We've talked about gearing your Warlock to include your stats and the stat priority, reforging, gems, glyphs, and your talent tree and some of the more interesting talents in the Affliction tree. I hope you'll join me for part 2, where I'll talk about the AoE and the single target rotations and demonstrate those on the target dummies in Orgrimmar.